welcome to the segment of the show. Today's topic is very interestingly named the 6 stages of change, how to leave your comfort zone and enter the growth zone. My guest is no stranger to the series, is Michael Ohini, one of the curators for the content. Michael, it's good to have you.
Happy to be here once again.
So before we get into the topic, what do you do? I notice you are all over the place, you write all kinds of things. How do you describe yourself?
I now describe myself as an empowerment specialist.
An empowerment specialist?
Yes, and I do that through basically 3 main avenues. As you know, Letitia and I run Lead Africa International. Mm-hmm. And our burden, our passion is to deliberately grow leaders for Africa, one person at a time. Mm-hmm. We do that especially with our in-school leadership development program that teaches children at an early age how to discover their purpose and then have a plan for doing that. That space is underserved. Nobody talks about children as far as our development is concerned. Mm-hmm. But as a country, that is the garden. That is our cultivation period. And so we are very passionate about young people and their development. That I do through Lead Africa International. Then I also have time to work as an independent development consultant. So I work with civil society, international development partners, and that's how I get by. And then I have time also to write and to talk. And every year, by God's kind graces, we are able to reach close to 7,000 people.
It's the Building Back Greater edition. We know what COVID has done.
Yeah.
So I guess your presentation today will focus on the individual, not the company, not the country, the individual.
No. So the focus is the individual. Yeah.
So what are you going to talk about?
All right. So we have all gone through, or we are still going through, major disruptions to the way we live and work. COVID is just about change the world economic order. And we know that a lot of people have been hit. In Ghana, we had our own challenges with the banking sector cleanup. Estimates are that 20 to 30,000 professionals have been laid off, who are now trying to find their feet in other sectors of the economy. Then we had COVID come in. Some people were sent home, some people were laid off, others had reduced working hours, others had reduced income so that their companies can continue to maintain them. So all these things have been a major upheaval, a major disruption to how we live our work. So if we want to build back better in 2022, then what must we do? And what should individuals be aware of as they start this rebuilding journey? That is why we are going to talk about the 6 key stages of change. Because you want to change. You want, when we all attended watch night service, whether it was crossover, jump over, crawl over, or whatever, we all said we want this year to be a better year, a good year. Now, that good year won't come by wishing. It has to come through a deliberate process of personal change. And that is what we are going to talk about this morning.
So you said the 6 stages of change, and the topic suggests that there is some comfort zone.
Yeah.
And there's also some growth zone.
Yeah.
Is there a graphical way you can depict this and show us?
All right. So if you have it on the screen, you will see that there are basically 4 stages of change.
4 stages of change?
Yeah, 4 stages of change. Now, this is how it works. You see, a Hungarian biologist called Mihaly, his other name is very difficult to pronounce, but he was the first person to talk about the fact that every second our brain processes, or our brain is exposed to 2 million bytes of information every second. Now, what that means for you and I to be able to be seen and to live is that our brain then filters this huge amount of information so that you and I will be able to contain and work with what we need. So our brain itself filters out a lot of information. And then it also develops a pattern because it cannot process all the information that it can. So it develops a pattern. Now, this is why we form habits. This is how we form routines, just so that it reduces the workload on the brain. And so all of us have, entered into this routine of just being comfortable, of just being there. And you do this because that is how your body would allow you to function based on the amount of information you are receiving every day. And so now things like bathing, things like brushing your teeth, things like driving, things like playing some games and sports, your brain itself has developed a pattern subconsciously so that you can deal with some of these, so you don't have to think about it. Now, this is where the comfort zone then comes in. Because your brain has developed patterns for you to follow to be able to deal with your life, a lot of us then feel that is our state. We fail to forget that there are other things that we can do once we are ready to step out and to launch out. And that is what I want people to avert their minds to this year. Now, this is not preaching, but in the Bible we are told that at some point Peter and the other disciples were fishing. And then they saw a figure coming in. Jesus asked, "What have you guys done?" I said, "Well, my Lord, we have fished all day and caught nothing." And Jesus told them, "Okay, now fish on the other side. Cast your net on the other side." Now, Peter has been fishing all his life. He knew more about the waves and everything than Jesus could ever, because by professing, Jesus was a carpenter. But now they were on the sea. It was in the comfort zone of Peter and his crew. But then the Bible says they believed and cast their net on the other side, which means that they left their comfort zone, they left the habit, the routine of what they knew how to do, and then did something different from what they had been doing. Now, when they did that, the Bible says they got what? A net-breaking miracle.
So your comfort zone is what? The place where you are good at, or where you are comfortable, or what was that?
It's your routine.
Your routine.
It's your habits.
Okay.
And it is what your brain has told you to do so you can deal with the uncertainties of life. Now, most of us fail to realize that we have been programmed subconsciously to develop routines so we can cope with life. And then we remain there and think that is our life.
Wow.
But your habits and your routines are not your life. There's something on the other side.
That's an interesting one. So, for example, when I go on air from 6 to 10, generally I have to spend about 30 minutes at the kitchen eating and chatting. So if I don't move, so if I finish my show and I have to do some work, I feel it's some way. So usually I need 30 minutes to just hang out with the guys and talk. So that's my comfort zone.
Good.
So if I want to grow, I may have to say, you know what, this 30 minutes after my show can do something else. That doesn't have to be spent just chatting.
Very good.
That's your point.
It's not just that, but even the way you do the show is your comfort zone.
Oh, wow.
Because you've gotten into a routine for you to be able to handle the pressures of the 4 hours. So there are some things you do now without thinking about it.
Yes.
Because you have routinized it. So when you have to do an LPM, when you have to play music, you've now routinized it.
Oh.
So it's become your place of comfort.
Hey. So whatever you're used to doing that you feel safe without having to apply any new effort is your comfort zone.
It's your comfort zone.
So that's the first zone.
Good. Now, for most people, they plateau at the comfort zone.
Okay.
And they think that they have arrived. They get comfortable and complacent.
Okay.
And that is how come most people have or experience the life that they are experiencing. Let's assume that you are a policeman. You join the service after sixth form or after your secondary education. You've done that work and you don't even think about it. And so you begin to behave like, oh, this is my work, not knowing that if you could stretch yourself, you can achieve a much, much, much higher level of result. And that is the focus of today's presentation.
So that's your first zone, which you showed on the chart. I'll come back to the chart. So what's the second zone? Is there another?
Good. The second zone is the fear zone.
Fear zone.
The second zone
is
the
second.
Fear zone.
So on the screen for those watching on television, the first zone is the one in the middle.
Yeah.
Or the most centralized one.
That's right.
And then the fear zone is the first one outside the first circle.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the fear zone is when we have to face uncertainty.
Okay.
Because you are now doing something that your brain is not used to. It's new. So let's assume that TV came and management decided that, look, your show will be telecast live. I'm sure it changes the dynamics of the show because now you are wondering, okay, how am I going to handle? So that's the fear zone. Now, when you ask people to do something new, something out of their ordinary or routine or their habits, they begin to fear. You begin to ask, hey, can I do it? Hey, will I be able to withstand this pressure? That is fear zone. And that also tends to bottle up a number of people's potentials. because I don't want to stretch myself. I don't want to go through the hassle. For instance, let's assume that the host for one of your shows doesn't turn up, and you ask another colleague to step in and say, hey, will I be able to handle that? I haven't done it before. That's the fear zone, because you are living in trepidation at how is the public going to perceive me? How am I going to be received? For a company, it could be a new product line, and you are wondering, will my distribution strategy be able to contain this new product? How am I going to distribute it? How am I going to do new advertising? So anytime you have to step away from the routine, from your habits, you are entering into fear zone.
Wow. So that zone has uncertainty, fear, and trepidation.
Yeah.
And then there's a third zone.
Then there's a third
So
zone.
this is a progression.
It's a progression.
Okay.
It's a progression.
So from comfort to fear.
Yeah.
Because somebody wants to introduce change.
That's right.
And then from fear to what?
Fear to learning zone.
Learning zone.
Yeah. Now you make a mental picture that, okay, I'll try. Let's take the same example of a new host stepping into an established show. So the person, okay, this is a challenge. Maybe management trust and believes in me, so I'm going to take this up. So what do? They start researching. They start learning about watching maybe old clips, start learning how to ask the question, how to sit in. So when you want to launch out, you now want to learn. Some people will get a mentor. Some people will get a coach. Some people do something. So the learning zone is when you deliberately decide that I'm going to move forward with my life. I'm going to make the necessary changes to my life. Last year we discussed this, where a number of the bank staff that were laid off some had to become Uber drivers and stuff. So now you begin to learn. I don't even know Accra that well, because when I was working, my route was just one. Now I must go to every part of the city, including Tema and the surrounding areas. Now how do I even do this? So you begin to now research, you begin to now learn, you begin to read books, you begin to listen to YouTube videos and stuff. And so it's a deliberate process, a deliberate effort. Now, my work is that this is where a lot of people are stuck.
Okay.
The discipline to learn, unlearn, and relearn is where a lot of people are. We know that if I do this, I'll get this result. And yet, many people don't have the discipline and the resolve to be able to learn so that they can move to a higher level of success.
So you mentioned learn, unlearn, and relearn.
That's right.
I see.
That's from Alvin Toffler anyway.
So you learn,
yes,
you unlearn. That means what you've been told is probably not sufficient enough.
It's not fit for purpose.
So you empty yourself of what you know,
That's
and then
right.
you learn again.
So you can take in new information, new knowledge, new skill, and all the things.
So it's not
that
learning
got to do
upon
with it.
learning. It's learning and unlearning.
That's right.
I see. And that's the learning zone, which comes after the fear zone.
After the fear zone.
I
and
see.
then the final growth stage is the growth zone.
The growth zone.
That's right. This is where you have stretched yourself. You have now acquired new skills. You have now acquired new knowledge. And so you are able to maintain the new level of success or the new behaviors that you want to now enter into. So if you are watching us or listening to us, this year, this is what you need to do. If you want your 2022 to change, you need to deliberately decide that I am going to learn. And learning could be anything. It could be new information, new knowledge, new skill, new vocation. What are you going to do to be able to achieve that success that just a few days ago you said, we are in a new year, Afishapa, this year will be good for me, this year will be, what are you ready to do? Because you see, you cannot achieve beyond your level of understanding, comprehension, and skill. So if you want to change your life, then you need to be able to acquire a new skill, a new habit, a new routine, a new vocation, a new knowledge, or something new. Set new goals, do something. Then you are achieving the success that you have.
Well, I thought there were 6, but it turns out there are 4 stages. It's actually 4 stages.
Yes,
there are 4 stages of change. So you have the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, and the growth zone. Do I need a psychologist to help me know this? Maybe somebody's just watching. How do I even know where I am? How do I apply this to it? It sounds like a nice, neat tool, but most people don't live their lives compartmentalizing it and saying, I'm in this zone or that zone.
That's
so
right.
how does this work in practice?
Okay, so there are a number of things that you can do. Sometimes you need external help. It could be a coach, a mentor, an advisor, or somebody who will help you to reframe your life.
Okay.
Every year when we finish with the series, people begin to call our office and they're like, I want you to help me. And we get a number, of course, very few are able to follow through. So sometimes you need somebody to take you through all these things that we are talking about. And for most part, for what I have seen and done in my work as a consultant and coach, I think you can do these yourself. Now, one of the things you can do is to reframe stress. Yeah, to reframe stress. Now, what is stress? As I said earlier on, our brain has been configured to keep us away from pain and to keep us in a state of pleasure, or to keep us at comfort level, what you can deal with. Now, so that's why change is so difficult. Now, when you want to change, you need to pull on a lot of resolve for you to be able to undertake that change. So number one, what do you want for this year? What do you want for this year? What do you want to achieve in 2022? Now, so the new things that are going to come to you, let's assume that they've posted you to a new branch of the company and you must go and build it from the start. That is stress because it is different. It is out of character and out of your routine. Now, if you don't reframe it as an opportunity to climb up, then chances are that you miss it. Let's assume that the company wants to set up a new department and you've been part of the team that has been nominated to work on setting up the new department or handle a new product or handle a new service. If you see it as stressful, these people, they really like me. That's why they won't make a go feel for this new play. So reframe some of these new things that are going to come to you this year. Take it as stepping stones.
I see.
Take it as stepping stones.
So don't see it as punishment.
Don't see it as punishment.
See it as a chance to be blessed, to be promoted.
Exactly.
I see. Reframe stress.
Reframe stress. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean by this. I know one of the state-owned agencies, one of their senior managers, they decided to post him to the north. And, in Ghana, when they say they are, and I'm not talking about today north, I'm talking about 15 years ago north. So everybody would have, no, I'll do everything to make sure I stay in the Ghana. No, but the guy took it. He went there and realized that the work environment was very, calm, not too stressful like Accra. For instance, 5 minutes he has driven to the office instead of Accra where you stay in traffic for 2 hours. Now, that time that he got there, he did 2 master's degrees whilst he was in the north. And so by the time his colleagues in Accra realized the guy had 2 master's degrees and eventually came down to be the managing director of that state-owned agency because he utilized that time very well. He reframed what would have been a very stressful period in his life. He took up that new challenge. So do that this year. Stretch yourself. Even if they don't offer you the new opportunity, you go to your management and say, this year I want you to stretch me. Give me higher responsibilities so that I can grow.
If the stretching will come with more money, I will take it. Because some of the cameramen say they are overstretched. So if the stretching will come with something, they will take it. Don't you? Good morning. So that's the first thing. Reframe stress.
That's right.
Reframe stress.
Yeah.
I see. What else can you do?
Then you need to understand that your brain is plastic.
Your brain is plastic?
Yes. Which means that you don't stop growing. The capacity of your brain and what it will allow you to do is limitless. And so, and I say this because in my work, sometimes you talk to people, 45-year-olds, 52-year-olds, and they're like, yeah, what you are saying is very interesting, but at my age, what can I do? And so a lot of people have resigned themselves to, once again, the comfort zone. So we forget that Captain Sanders founded KFC when he was 65 or 67.
Serious?
Yes. 65 or 67 after he had failed in just about every aspect of his life.
I see.
So remember that your brain is plastic. If you stretch it, it will stretch to its elastic limit. So this year, don't sit down. You can be a retiree. You can relearn a new skill and you have another 15 years of a useful working life. Wow. Don't go and sit at home, listen to radio show in the morning, sleep, wake up, eat lunch, sleep. No, you can relearn something and give yourself another.
Do you have anything against radio shows?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm just using that as an example, as a classic life that retirees in Ghana tend to live.
Your brain is plastic.
Yes. If you stretch, it can stretch. Whatever you want to learn, you can do it. In the period of lockdown, people were surprised at what they could do.
Yeah.
People took up so much.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. One restaurant owner, chef in New York, during the first wave of the lockdowns, lockdown, nobody was going to eat. A lot of the restaurants shut down. They said, our business is collapsed. Why is the government so wicked? This guy said, okay, if people won't come to the restaurant, let me start a new TV series teaching people how to cook, because everybody was locked down. So he started a new series. And then as he started teaching people how to cook, they said, okay, can you actually give us the ingredients? Can you deliver it to us so that we can cook what you are teaching us to cook? So he started another line of business, delivering packed ingredients to people. And then people say, okay, for me, I don't want to cook, just deliver the new order. So from one product line, which was the restaurant, now he had 3.
Wow.
Because the guy stretched himself, added new things to what he was already doing. Whereas a lot of the restaurant owners folded their arms and said, we are doomed. Business has collapsed. That's what I mean by the brain is plastic. If you stretch yourself, if you realize that there's a lot more that you can do, you can.
So that's the second point.
Yeah.
So reframe stress, then realize that your brain is plastic.
That's
if
right.
you stretch it, it will grow. These are all practical ways of moving from comfort to fear to learning to growth.
That's right.
I see. Anything else to say in addition to
The
this?
next one is prioritize.
All right.
Prioritize. Prioritize. Once again, what I have seen going around Ghana and other parts of Africa to teach and to talk is that what is actually holding us down is our inability to prioritize, to focus on what is important as far as our lives are concerned. Most of us have time for every other thing other than what will help us grow and to become better in life. Yeah. So this year, what are your top 3 priorities? What do you want to achieve by 31st night? Now remember that, and I think I've said it here severally on this show, that when we start a new year, the year is not new. It's not new. What is new is the opportunity for you to live life new. But the year itself is not new.
It's just a number that has changed.
It's just a number that has changed. But when we say we have entered a new year, it is giving you new opportunities to redo what you want to do. Now, today, look at how the year is running at the speed of light. Before I realize March has come. Before I realize June has come. Before I realize we are in September, and then the year is going, you are wondering, what did I do with my year? So this year, be brutal with your time, your resources, and your energy. Prioritize. What is it that you want to achieve? And then I want to break it down. Every quarter, choose 3 things that you want to achieve. Every 3 months. Focus that these 3 months I want to do 3, just 3. Then every week decide what 3 things you will do to achieve the 3.
Okay.
And then every day decide what 3 things you will do to achieve your 3 for the week. 3.
Take it on. So every month your top 3.
Every quarter.
Sorry, every quarter.
Yes.
Your top 3.
That's right.
Those are the things you want to do.
You want to do for the quarter.
Then every week. You
agree the 3 things you want to do to help you achieve your 3 for the quarter.
All right.
Because it's a little movement, baby steps.
3 per quarter, 3 per week, and I also
and then
said every
3 per day.
Hey.
Yeah, every day. Don't get
every
up
day the top 3
the top
to help
3.
you achieve your top 3 for the week.
That's right.
And every week your top 3 to achieve your top 3 for the quarter.
Sharp.
It sounds easy, but it's not though.
That's why we talk about the fear, the learning, and the growth.
3 things per day to achieve your top 3 per week.
Yeah.
3 per week to achieve your top 3 per quarter.
That's right.
I say
that's priority.
And you call it the top 3.
Yeah.
That you call it the 3 cubed.
333 goal achievement plan.
The what?
333 goal achievement plan.
333 goal achievement plan.
Yeah. Because you see, if you don't feel, you see, nature abhors a vacuum. We all know that. So if you don't fill your time with what is important to you, others will fill it for you. Others will fill it for you. That's when your friend will call, Charlie, I won't go see that my boy for Sakumono. And then you follow your friend. By the time you go to Sakumono and come, it's 3 hours of your time gone. But then if before you woke up that morning, you knew that today I must do these 3 things. What are you going to do? You tell your friend, Charlie, I have to do this thing, so I beg you, this one, go and come. So if you don't decide on what is important to you and spend your time, your energy, and your resources on those 3 things, others will fill it for you.
So prioritize.
Prioritize brutally. Be very brutal with
brutal with yourself.
Yes, with your time, your resources, and your energy and money and every other thing. Focus on you. This year, focus on you if you want to rebuild. And then finally, baby steps. Take small steps.
Okay.
Take small steps. Because sometimes when we talk about this, people say be practical. But everything we are talking about is practical. People just don't want to discipline themselves to do what we are talking about. So just take small steps. And I say this order. Sometimes it's as easy as taking a post-it note and drawing your plan for the day. That's it.
Wow.
Before you realize you are now getting to the habit. So just take baby steps. Whatever it is that your goal is for this year, every day do something small. Sometimes it can be going to a school to pick up the admission form that you've been putting off for 3 years. Just take that baby step. Go and pick up the admission form. American author Tony Robbins says all growth starts at the end of your comfort zone.
Wow.
All growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. Now remember that a ship is very safe at the harbor. But that is not its destiny. It is not meant to be at the harbor. It makes progress when it sails. Remember that the tortoise is very, very safe when it is inside its hard shell. But that is not its destiny. That's not its purpose. It can only make progress when it sticks its head out.
Amazing.
Now, growth is difficult. Growth is very, very difficult. But if you let the fear of growth imprison you, then you will not be able to achieve your dreams and aspirations for 2022. So the question is, what are you ready to stretch yourself to do?
Amazing.
What do you want to achieve at the end of 12 months? Let that inspire and motivate you. And my challenge to you this year is get 1% better every day.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael Ohiniefa. Get 1% better every day. That's all we have time for today's edition of the Effective Living series, which has been on the City Breakfast Show on radio and also on Breakfast Daily. My name is Bernard Avle. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.